Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Long. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jake Loth. How are you doing, Jake, on this very merry podcasting session?
I'm doing pretty well.
Are you full of mirth?
I am, but when this comes out, no one's going to be full of mirth at all because it'll be January 4th or something. Just like on the last one, you ended with Merry Christmas, and that comes out
tomorrow
on this Monday. So
yeah, but
pretty past Christmas.
It's not that past Christmas.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Merry New Year's. It's just the start of the new year when this is coming out, so Happy New Year's, everyone. And I hope you all didn't get too drunk. If you did get too drunk, I hope you embarrassed yourself in front of your family.
There you go. Good job. You actually talked about the correct holiday that was just passed at this point.
Yeah. So, do you have a pitch for us this week, Jacob?
I do, actually.
Oh, good.
So my pitch is that you go this week.
Oh, okay. Well, that probably makes more sense because I've got a bunch of stuff written down about a television program. And
I got nothing written down.
It's good. Well, that's
no
how
pitches.
I feel like that's how we start a good number of these.
Nothing written down.
It's just tossing it off the dome. Like maybe 2 sentences written down about
We're only supposed to do that every 10 episodes.
Space Fortress, and that's.
I mean, that's probably what your notepad says. Space.
It doesn't say
exclamation point.
It says medieval.
Ragtag crew.
It says medieval, not space.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a hard shift from you. You've been switching up. Last time you did the hell thing.
Yeah, trying to diversify my portfolio of bullshit that I talk about on my podcast.
Yeah, good job. Proud of you.
You should be, I feel. So one genre of fantasy that I feel is underrated and underutilized in modern context is the post-apocalyptic medieval setting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where the world's ended, but it's so far into the future that nobody really remembers how the world was before it ended. So it's like post-apocalypse, but everybody's just got medieval level technology and we're restarting again. You know?
Got swords and spears and stuff.
Yeah, nobody's got guns. Guns are for nerds. Guns are for nerds. Charlie McFadden, 2020. Charles Long, 2020.
It's actually going to be 2021 when you say that.
Good.
So,
then I won't.
I want to restate that.
I won't get canceled for it by the gun lobbyists that listen to our podcast. But
yeah,
I think
one of them.
Is it you? Are you the gun lobbyist that listens to the podcast?
How'd you know?
Oh shit! That's a good idea for a TV show. I did a podcast.
A gun lobbyist.
I did a podcast with a gun lobbyist for 29 episodes, and I didn't know it till now. TV show idea, printed, minted. Let's go. Pitch it to Netflix.
All right, let's get into your piss and stop bullshit.
My piss this week is about a post-apocalyptic medieval fantasy saloon, like a Cheers style place that follows the day-to-day lives of the people who work there and live in the saloon. Like the brewmaster lives in the saloon, everybody else lives in shacks outside the saloon, and the various characters that are regulars or come in for one time, and it's like, whoa, who are you, crazy character? And they'll be like, hey, it's me, a King Arthur. I couldn't think of a fantasy person. It's me,
King Arthur.
Frodo.
King Arthur's a fantasy person. Do you think King Arthur was real?
Yeah, but it's not very fun. Frodo is more fun.
Yes, Charlie, there was a real sword in a rock, and
there probably
there was a wizard that was like, "Oh, I'm Merlin."
Hey,
I don't think I'd do anything besides just say I'm Merlin and sit in the basement and come out with a straight to DVD movie that comes out years later.
And I'm in a TV show where I'm young and sexy. Merlin, check it out on NBC between the years of 2007 and 2012. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know when this show Merlin happened. And he gets seduced and turned into a tree. I know that. I've read some King Arthur. It was super boring and lame. And then Hellboy is his kid. Remember that? Did you see that recent Hellboy movie?
No, I didn't. But now I
It was
do know.
not good.
Weird. Hellboy's his kid.
Hellboy is like a descendant of King Arthur, which is true in the comics, but it makes more sense. So he can, wield the magic sword and is the true king of England.
Oh, they got a parliament now.
Yeah.
Also, they have a queen.
Yeah. And it's not Freddie Mercury.
What?
The queen is not Freddie Mercury.
No one thought that. Charles.
It's some old woman.
Some old woman.
What's her name? Princess Diana?
Elizabeth II. No, she's dead. She's been dead for years.
Wow. Too soon, Jake.
How?
Too soon.
How is it too soon?
Too soon to bring up Princess Elizabeth.
All right, can you please talk about your pitch?
My pitch this week is I don't have a name for the saloon. I think we should come up with it together.
Okay,
I'll say one word, you say the next word, and that'll be the name of the saloon. How's that?
Water. I know you said I go second.
Yeah,
all right, you go first.
Second, motherfucker. The shifty...
Saloon. No.
The shifty saloon.
Shifty. It has to start with an S. Shifty. Shifty. What's a weird medieval thing?
Sauron.
No.
No, we'll get sued. The
wood. Shifty snake. Shifty.
The shifty wood.
Saliva.
They didn't have that word back then.
They might have. Shifty.
Well,
this is a post-apocalyptic medieval society, so they could have something.
They could have the shifty wood bucket. How's that?
No.
The ragged...
That's too many syllables. The second word needs to be one syllable.
The Raggedy Ann. Is that a good name for a...
The Raggedy Ann?
Yeah.
Did you steal that from somewhere?
I mean, Raggedy Ann is a toy. From, like, the 40s.
Alright, maybe we can come up with the name later.
Okay,
what else?
Fair enough.
You got?
So, the podcast... The saloon is run by all sorts of fantasy creatures and people who are, like, weird... fantasy post-apocalyptic hybrids of what their character traits would normally be. So our dishwasher, the guy who does all the menial labor, the Charlie Day of the
Always Sunny reference.
Yeah,
nice.
His name isn't Day; it's something else in the show.
It is.
What is it? No, his name is Day in real life. What's I don't know.
The character? I don't think they ever say his actual name. They probably do. But
yeah, they do.
Doesn't matter.
I don't remember, but is a goblin who's like constantly working his ass off to make sure that the saloon makes any amount of money. And he's like, he washes the dishes, he cleans the floors, he clears the tables, he makes sure everything works and runs, but he's got a dream of being a well-renowned poet, but is constantly like pushed down and yelled and like belittled by his fellow workers because no one would ever want to read what a goblin has written. Because, the goblins,
Is he an actual goblin? Because this is a post-apocalyptic society. Or is he just like a really fucked up guy?
I mean, I imagined him as green with long hair, long ears, and short.
Okay, so actual goblin.
Yeah. Like goblin-y. He's goblin-y. It's sort of meme. You get me.
I got you.
Our bouncer is a knight. He was a knight of like a well-respected castle, and then he was kicked out for fondling the king's daughter.
You could have like the exact same story as Lancelot, but like later you could find out like that was not true at all. Yeah, like it was just like super like he was definitely not like she was not into him at all. She didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, or maybe he was like. Our knight, we could like reveal in a later episode, he was just like a random peasant who like killed a knight and took his stuff.
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, this is me now. And it's the Middle Ages, but in the future, nobody knows what anyone looks like. Pictures aren't a thing.
So that's good. And then it just makes up the whole Lancelot story to pretend like that's like, oh, that's why I'm not at a castle. Cause
exactly. I'm just, doing some work. I'm trying to experience life. And I imagine him as like a big, dumb beefhead, like Jersey kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like a Jersey Shore style, like, hey, whoa, what the fuck is this you doing? Get the hell out of my bar. But he gets paid less than everyone else, but he doesn't know it because he's rather thick. Our bartender, who's kind of our main character, I would say, our quote-unquote main character, our Fry from Futurama, a show you've never seen in your entire life.
I've seen a few episodes.
Yeah. Well, our main character, quote-unquote, is a witch bartender who is constantly being belittled by her, for lack of a better word, master. Like, she's the apprentice to an old, wise wizard who's kind of just crazy, and he's the brewmaster of the tavern. So in the back of the tavern, they've got these giant vats of beer and other things that they're like, hey, we don't know what he puts in there, but people keep coming back, so whatever.
They're drunk. They get drunk, so...
Yeah, so... whatever. So he's like this old crazy guy who's constantly attempting experiments on like the various people that wander into his bar.
Oh, so he puts weird shit in the beer and stuff.
He puts weird shit in all the beer, and the witch bartender. I don't have names thought up.
Yeah.
For these people. We'll name her Sam. No, that's too recent. Let's name her Zag. Her name is Zag. And the knight's name is Tony. He's like, hey, Tony. It's me, fucking Tony.
So we got Tony, the knight, who is not actually a knight.
No, he's just a big
We
guy.
have the barkeep, who's like Fry from Futurama. That's all I got. Was there anything else about him or her?
I mean, she's like underestimated by everybody who comes into the bar. Not because she's a woman, but because she has 4 fingers on one hand. She lost her pinky in a knife fight.
All right, so barkeep.
There's like no bartender could ever. No bartender with 9 fingers could do a job well, but she knows magic, so she's good at it. But
I feel like you could do it without magic and with just 9 fingers too.
Yeah, I know, but it's medieval times. They were like, if they thought that like if you fucking wrote with your left hand, you were possessed by the devil.
I think that was more of a recent thing, but
yeah, that was in the 50s.
What was the other thing I was gonna say? Oh, then you got the weird wizard dude in the back making stuff. And then your other character. Who's your last character again?
I've got a few other characters, but the last people who work at the bar are the delivery team.
Okay.
Which are, I would assume they go on like different like side quests every once in a while, because there's people who are like, I don't want to come to this bodunk shit bar, but I do want liquor. So I attach a letter to a raven requesting set amount of booze, and they bring it to me. And it's always like an incredibly dangerous adventure they go on. And it's 2 ranger twins, like a boy and a girl, and they both like use bows and arrows, and they're like, I'm thinking of a pansier version of Legolas from what Lord of the Rings. I couldn't remember what the name of it was. Lord of the Pings.
Lord of the Pings.
Like a baby pansy. Like a baby pansy version of Legolas, both of them, and they both like are very gullible and naive, and they're like, the wizard, who I will name Frederick.
Yeah.
Frederick the Wise. Fred Brick.
What a name.
Yeah. Fred Brick has hired them and is like, okay, once you make 300 deliveries, then you'll get paid. Like, he's nice. Tricked them into a contract that they've signed that's like, okay, it's gonna take us like 10 years to make 300 deliveries. But they're always really happy.
A bunch of money. Wait, do they get paid for like 1 delivery after 300, or do they get paid for all 300 after?
I think they get paid for like a set fee after 300. Like, they get like 10 gold.
Oh, damn.
But they just didn't read the fine print, because these 2 people, like, they grew up in like a fantasy elven like pacifist sort of.
Oh, they just assume everyone's nice and happy or something?
Yeah, and they're very naive and silly, and they're like, okay, well, we gotta deliver this barrel of mead to an ogre who lives in the woods, and it's like they have to go throughout an entire dungeon and kill a lich in order to get to the ogre, and the ogre's like, okay, thanks. And they're like, excuse me, sir. We were just hoping that after also all this hard work that we've done to get you your mead, you would give us a measly tip. And he's like, yeah, I'll give you a tip. Tip of my sword. And he smacks him in the face.
Oh.
Or like kicks him out. Like they never get what they want, but they always have a happy veneer going. And I think this you know, these people in quotation marks, people, not all of them are people, some of them are goblins and elves and stuff, are all like relatively happy, not happy, but they're content with their lot in life. They eat and drink and survive, and they're constantly being like shown up by a bar, maybe next door or across the street, like a tavern.
Oh. It's like a much better bar across the street. It's
much better, much higher prices. They've got like rooms and stuff.
Damn.
And like it's much. This is a saloon, whereas the tavern is across the street, and the tavern's got like an inn in it and everything. It's super
really
nice.
Cozy. You got like bearskin rugs and.
They have a chef, whereas at the Wilting Willow saloon.
Ooh, that's a good name. That's that Wilting Willow.
Yeah. At the Wilting Willow Saloon, all the food is cooked by the goblin, Glurb.
In the toilet.
The name Glurb. He's just got like he's got like basically what amounts to what are those things? A hot plate?
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, yeah, your steak will be here in a minute.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, maybe they have like a band of animals, or a side plot could be that they have like a farm out back where they like get the animals.
But like no one knows about it except for the goblin.
Yeah, and that's like where they get all their food from, but the animals are all like people who've been like turned into animals by like an evil enchantress who lives by, or maybe Fred.
Oh, like next door, and so she turns people to like animals all the time, and he just like goes over there and grabs them.
Yeah, but they can all like talk to each other, so they're like, well, I don't know what else to do with my time. I'm just gonna eat some hay or whatever. And they've kind of like accepted their fate because this is like a relatively medium fate in this horrible world. Like it's not the worst you can get. It's like, hey, at least we're not, enslaved to the god King Balthazar, who makes sure to disembowel all of his servants before every meal or something. Like they're like, okay, this is all right. At least we get fed.
Yeah.
There's water
Not too
here.
Bad.
Yeah.
You could have like a discussion that episode about like whether or not this is cannibalism.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they were people. Okay, that's one argument, and they can talk. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's that's not good. But they are animals now. The witch did turn them into animals. And maybe they go like ask the witch at the end of the episode. And she's like, "Oh yeah, no, it's definitely still people." Like,
oh yeah,
the spell expires in like a couple months. They're like, "What?" Like, yeah, no, they turn back into people in like a month. Like, oh.
And then they like go into the reserve, the fridge where they keep like steaks that they've already pre-made.
Yeah.
And they open it up and they're like, you need to burn all of this. Get rid of it. I don't know how, but get rid of it. I've also got a few ideas for some regulars at the bar. Okay. People who just kind of, they stumble in right when they open, they get the ale, and they stumble out when it's closing time. And I think the bar could be closed for like 1 hour a day. They're just like, they close at 2 a.m. and they open at 3 a.m. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, yeah, we just take some uppers and we're fine. We're closed on Sundays. That's the Lord's Day of Lord God King Balthazar. We can't disobey him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he said all taverns closed on Sunday.
Yeah. Except for his, of course. And he's got like a TGI Fridays style, chain restaurant. down the street. It's like, they only make money on Tuesdays because the waiters always stab you. But, hey, gotta eat somewhere.
That's true.
But our regulars include an orc, like an orc barbarian warrior, who was kicked out of his clan because he lost his arm. And it's not really revealed how he lost his arm, but I imagine it's like in a very embarrassing way. Like he dropped something down the drain, and he went to get it, and his arm got ripped off.
In like the garbage disposal.
Yeah. So he's
like medieval garbage disposal, and someone was like pulling the rope and spinning the blades, and he's like, "Stop! My arm's in there!" And they're like, "What? Can't hear you." I'm just like pulling the rope.
Yeah, or like a Flintstone style. They have just like a little gremlin monster at the bottom of the sink that like chews up the garbage.
Yeah.
And then he like drops a ring, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta get this, or my wife's gonna kick the shit out of me." And then he loses his arm. So he's a disgraced orcish barbarian warrior who's like known far and wide for being a vicious, cruel fighter. Like he's like the meanest motherfucker who's ever walked the earth. But he's retired now, and he's just drinking himself to death at the end of this bar, and but he's happy about it.
Okay.
I mean, he's not happy about it, but he's like, yeah, whatever. I feel like him and Tony, the wizard, or not Tony. Tony's the knight. Yeah, I don't know why I said Tony the wizard. Tony, the bouncer, and this orc who I have not named, which we name him Bork. I like that. That's good. It's easier to remember. Tony will constantly have like ideas and thoughts about like battle and like be bragging about like, oh yeah, I beat up 3 guys with one hand tied behind my back, and then Bork will always like upstage him, but not like purpose. He's not like, oh look at this prick.
Yeah,
he's just like, he'll be like, oh yeah, I remember there was one time I was sitting at home, and a band of rangers came into my house, and I slit all their throats using my spoon that I was eating cereal with. Like that tone, and then Tony be like, yeah, okay, pull on his collar, I'm gonna go, cause you scare me, and then, and our another regular idea I had is a mechanicoid. There's a robot man, but he's all like gears and steam. Like there's no computers. He's like a steampunk robot man who was created by a wizard in a faraway land. And it's like, maybe the faraway land that he was created in is like modern society. Like one country has survived, like Iceland is a utopian society where there's like McDonald's and all sorts of stuff, and the rest of the world is this like post-apocalyptic wasteland that people have abandoned. So he's like, yeah, I come from a place where lights, they stand above the streets, and they shine down on you so you don't get mugged in the middle of the night. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, sure, buddy. Just drink your oil or whatever the hell you drink. He's like, I just drink water. I just drink water. And the last idea for a regular I had is a king. He was a former king who was, ousted by a coup that was run by his like grand vizier or something, and he like was supposedly killed, but is like constantly like hiding from royal guards who are like looking for him. So he's like this disgraced former king who constantly tells like different stories about his background. He's like, yes, I was a bard in Newcastle. And they're like, can you play us a song? And it's like, I hurt my hand. I'm really not, I'm just not feeling in a musical mood right now. I swore
never to sing again after something happened.
After I lost a bet. I lost a bet with a witch. And she said, and she did a curse on me so I could never sing again. And then the bartender will be like, that's not a spell, that is, we can't do that. Witches can't do that, buddy. And it's like,
you mean the brewmaster would do that?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought is the bartender a wizard too?
The bartender is a witch.
Ah, okay, I got
Yeah.
you. I didn't realize she had magic.
And she's
even though you definitely said that earlier.
Yes, I did, but it's okay, buddy. We all know
Right.
you're just...
I'm losing my mind. It's alright.
You're just thinking about the next episode. You're just thinking about what ideas you have.
I don't do that, actually.
You do. That's all you do.
I don't.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea.
You're probably thinking about the next episode while you're talking about this one.
Yes.
Is that true? You are. Damn.
Sometimes. I'll think about like, oh, bet Jake's gonna have a really good pitch next time.
No.
That's what I'm thinking. No.
No.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, that's the ideas. Those are the ideas I have for the show. I think of it will be more like a Cheers style situational comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Short.
You could have a
sitcom.
You could have an episode where I don't know, it could be like something like all sitcoms end badly or something like that. Mm-hmm. And your customers could be like the title character of all the famous sitcoms, like How I Met Your Mother, Cheers, all them.
We get Gerald, Seinfeld.
And it's all like it's just like them telling like really awful stories to the bartender about how like everything like didn't actually work out in the end.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's funny.
So for like How I Met Your Mother, it's like, yeah, and I met her, and you know, she didn't like me, so it didn't work out.
I had the saxophone.
And so now I like.
Is it a
now
saxophone?
I like talk to like fake kids that I have. You know, I have imaginary kids.
I have imaginary children.
I just stare at the couch and I tell them stories, but there's no actual kids there. It's just me.
It's just my dog.
Alone.
It's my dog, but my dog died a few weeks ago, so it's a skeleton.
Oh,
it's my dog skeleton.
A skeleton just sitting on the couch.
Or like we could have like a Jerry Seinfeld character come in, and he's telling the story and trying to make it funny, but it's just a horrible thing he did.
Yeah.
They're like, get the hell out of here, you fucking creep.
Why would you?
And he's like, no, but you don't get it. He was really angry about the soup or whatever.
And you just make their names like slightly different, like for the How I Met Your Mother character, Ted Mosby, you'd make it like
Ted Danson.
Med Tosby. Just like switch the first letter of their first and last names.
Yeah, we get that's far enough away to not get sued. I'm imagining,
but like it shows you that you do mean those characters.
Yeah, but it's like
do,
I'm
like
imagining...
The Office. You could do what's his name, Michael Scott, and so instead of him like moving off to, I think he moved to Colorado with Holly. I think that was the end of that show.
I don't see Office.
I've never actually seen the episode. I just heard someone tell me it before.
Okay, that's
And so maybe he like goes there. And he like actually died, and this is like Jim telling the story, and he's like, yeah, and then you know,
his wife divorced him and he shot himself.
His wife divorced him and he shot himself, and then I got a divorce with my wife, and then she went back with that other guy, and he beats her.
Jesus.
Just like really awful things.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, just like ruining the end of every sitcom.
You could get like a Barney Stinson style character. That's his name, right? From How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
And he's like constantly hitting on the waitress, on the bartender, who's a witch. And like at the end of the episode, she's like, "I'm fucking sick of it," and like sticks a knife through his hand.
Yeah.
And he like, ah! He's like he's screaming and his blood going everywhere. And Tony just like grabs him and drags him out and throws him into the mud. But he doesn't take the knife out, so it just like cuts his hand in half.
Oh damn.
Yeah. And they're like, good riddance. You know, I bet he would be a great song and dance man. He should probably play the Grinch or something. I don't know what Neil Patrick Harris does.
Has he played the Grinch? I don't think he's done anything besides How I Met Your Mother, to be honest.
He hosted the Oscars.
Did he?
Yeah. 1 year.
Alright, I got one more. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Okay. In that show, Jake and Amy get together, and I'm thinking
married.
You have both of them get killed in a police accident, and their child is like at an orphanage now, and this is the child telling the story.
Oh,
the child like snuck in to the bar.
That's depressing.
Telling
I was
the story
just
about how his parents were killed.
Oh, that's really sad. I don't know how we make that funny. I was just gonna say like maybe Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but it's, the medieval equivalent, so it's like castle guards, and it's like somebody from the crew, like a Charles Boyle style character, just telling them about like how they all got fired because of their gross incompetence.
Oh, because no, you can't do any of that stuff in a police station. That was just really awful. They all got fired, and it was went really downhill after that.
We did a Halloween thing where we all tried to steal something from somebody, and a sergeant came in, and a commissioner came in, and we all got fired because that's a workplace. You can't be banging everyone in your workplace. And now they're all just they're a traveling crew of jesters, and they get thrown tomatoes at them.
And for each of these people, you could have them tell the story of the sitcom first with the good ending.
Yeah.
And then a few drinks later, they'll tell the actual ending.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good...
And then it could be a repeated joke, so by the third time, the barkeep's just all right, tell me what actually happened. She's getting tired of it, and she's realizing they all just keep doing the same thing, where they tell her the good story.
That's a good anthology episode, I think. It's a good idea for an anthology. If we're one 30-minute long episode, you break it up into 5-minute chunks of different sitcoms being parodied by our guys. And then they're asking questions wait, so Gerald Sneedfeld, you lived across the street, across the hall from this guy. What was his name? I don't remember. He did something racist, and then you all got put in jail. But what does the soup have to do with any of it? Why would you constantly tell us about airplane food? What the fuck are you talking about, Gerald? And then he's just he's a senile old man who falls off the table.
Yeah.
He's just it's the deal. Slam.
It's the floor.
Yeah. Roll credits. Well, I think that's a good idea. Do you think it's a good idea?
No.
No? Fair enough.
I think we should just scrap the whole thing.
I think we should set fire to the studio that we record this in.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles. Along with me, as always, has been my co-host, Jake Loth. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, you can find us YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, pretty much anywhere podcasts are held captive by our corporate overlords. Give us a like and a subscribe and tell a friend. Do something, please. They won't let us out unless we get 100 subscribers. We've been stuck in this We've been stuck in this studio for so long. It's starting to smell.
I forgot what sunlight feels like.
It feels like, fire. It feels like that, but less. You know what I mean?
I mean, how would you know? You're in here with me.
Yeah, but I remember.
He always does this. He always tells me he remembers the way things feel on the outside, but he doesn't. He just lies to me.
Yep.
It's annoying.
I just lie to him.
God.
This isn't even recording. Nothing's recording. I just lie to him all the time. Well, goodbye, and thank you for listening.